streaming. My name's Nate Allball, head football coach, Judah Christian School in Champaign, Illinois.
Al Craig, head football coach, Oakwood High School, Oakwood, Illinois.
And of course, you know Al was with Tim earlier this week, our host of the Four Quarter Show. Right now, I mean, not that the Four Quarter Show doesn't exist, we're just trying to get online and shoot as much as we can.
Yeah, piece together times
Yeah.
kind of deal. Because right now we're all on like different schedules, so
Yeah.
it's hard for us to get a time. So
Whatever we can find, we're just going to shoot a show. And
break show.
yeah, we're on lunch break. We're on lunch break right now, shooting a show. So where are you? You might be on lunch break.
Yeah.
You might be on in plan period. Who knows? But we're glad you've joined us. We're trying to get so where we could see the comments as well. So let's see here. Type Chief Pigskin into there right there.
Right.
Today we're talking, I thought you were changing offenses. And it's titled that because Coach Craig has said for 2 years now. Yeah, click on that right there.
Okay.
Coach Craig has said for 2 years now that if he, we got to turn that sound down. So that's the video there's on a little delay. It'll throw you off if you look at it. Yeah. Go off. So be sure, hey, check in. If you happen to be watching, please check in. We love it when coaches check in. We know where you're from.
Yeah.
We know who's hanging out with us. But Coach Craig, for 2 years now, no lie, 2 years, has sworn that he was going triple option.
Yeah, you're right.
Flex bone triple option.
Yep.
He takes over a job late this year, his first head job. So he decides to stick with the wing T because that's the system that they were doing. And he took over a program that was kind of, I would call it our family system. It's the family system about 4 of us coaches are running here in Central Illinois. We all kind of grew up on it together. And I say grew up like the last 5 to 7 years of our coaching career.
Well, my whole career pretty much.
Sure. So we kind of grew up with this, and it's kind of our crew's version of it.
Yeah.
So he took over a program that was running our crew's version of it.
Right.
It was late. He decides to stick with it. Now, again, knowing I'm switching to flex bone soon. So I said, Coach, great, we're going to talk about your offense change today. And he looked at me like, I'm not changing offenses, so I'm dying to hear. Coach, I thought you were changing offenses. Oh, wait, we're having camera problems. Hold up.
Uh-oh.
This is a problem here. I'm going to fix this real quick. I don't know how long ago this froze, but hang with us. We will fix this camera in just a couple seconds. I hope it doesn't keep freezing on us. Let's hope I can get it fixed. Okay, we're back. Man, I'm on here. Are we on live there? Okay.
Yeah, we're
it's
good.
coming. It's in and out.
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous to keep going.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, okay. I see here that we're on. That's on that 10-second delay.
Yeah,
okay.
it's on delay.
We're on now. Okay,
Yeah.
Thank goodness we're back on. As I was saying, Coach, I thought you were changing offenses.
Yeah. Well, the original plan was, and it started a couple years ago actually, when I switched over to the offensive side when we were still at Central, and you had kind of said, "Hey, we're gonna go flex bone, triple option, start to study it and learn as much as you can." And I was like, "All right, cool." So I started doing that, and I fell in love with the offense. Enjoyed it a lot. Enjoyed studying it. Enjoyed talking to people about it, and was excited. And then we kind of, for whatever reason, went back to the wing T, and then I took over this job, and they were already doing the wing T, so I stuck with it. And then this year I was like, do I do it this year or do I wait? And I thought about it, and with what we have returning, I think it's best for us to stick with the wing T for another year, simply because I have my leading rusher coming back this year, and I just don't feel like using him as a wing back in the flex bone would be the best fit for him, and it doesn't allow us to get him the ball as much as we can in the wing T, because I'm able to kind of move him around and get him where I want, because he knows the wing T system, and he knows both of the positions, our tailback and our fullback in the wing T. So that's really the reason why we're sticking with it for another year. But I would say we will start implementing a little bit more option things into our offense this year as we go along.
Okay, before I jump into that, we're having some camera problems. From what I know, the audio is still staying on while we go.
Okay.
So as you're watching, when the video cuts out, just hang with me. I'll get it fixed about 10 to 20 seconds, and then after this live show today, I'll do some research and fix that problem altogether. So we're having a little video problem, but stick with us. Pretty sure the audio is still working. So you're not making the change because of a guy, basically, right?
Well, I mean, a guy and...
I mean, it's not just a guy.
Yeah.
The guy,
The
right?
guy.
The
guy,
big running back.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the reason. And, I mean, my upperclassmen have been in the system now for 4 years. And I don't necessarily want to switch it on them that last year. But I guess that'll always be a problem, right? So,
yeah.
So even next year, I'll have the same problem. No, and I have a quarterback that's really comfortable in the wing tee right now. Knows kind of how to check in and out of things in the wing tee.
Yeah.
And that's huge. And he's a senior this year. So, next year I'll have to go with a new starter. So I feel like that would be a good time for me to kind of take over and change it a little bit.
Okay, so you say, all right, if you're going to change. So this has been the conversation all week, which is how do you know when to change offenses? So this kind of adds a new wrinkle, a new variable to the equation that we hadn't considered yet up to this point. And I think it's a good point. Changing offenses, if you're going to do it, you wait until that good break in personnel.
Yeah.
Right? So you happen to be in a part of your personnel where some key pieces, and of course those key pieces are quarterbacks and running backs, right?
Right.
Some key pieces of your equation are going to be seniors. To you, it makes more sense to change after those key guys, and you're going to have to get a new quarterback ready anyway. That's what you're saying.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean that's my philosophy. And this year we did do a little bit of triple option things in our offense. Like we did just a dive without reading, and then we did the fake dive without reading in the keep. So we had two different names for those plays. So there was no reading involved, but we were just doing the play.
You can show option. And obviously wing tee teams for a long time. Delaware wing tee, the Augustana wing tee, which is big here in the Midwest. Augustana won maybe it was 3 or 4 national titles, Division III in a row in Northwest Illinois, for anybody that's not familiar. And they were a wing tee team. And that Augustana wing tee had some big time option principles to it as well. So there's no doubt you can option out of anything.
Right, of course, yeah. And I think this year as we go along, I think we're going to add a little more of that to our offense as we go and just kind of slowly start to implement it. So then when I do go, if I ever go the full change, I don't know.
Oh, there's an if now.
Now, I mean,
it used to be for sure. Now there's an if.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. You never know how it's going to go, right?
Right.
So, I mean, as we start to install little bits and pieces as we go, then when we make the wholesale change, I can be like, listen, we're already doing this. We've already done this in a certain way, so like it should make it for a smoother transition.
Well, let's talk option football for a minute. While I do that, it looks like we've had a couple minutes here of camera success in a row. I'm pumped about that. Fingers crossed, knock on wood.
Right.
But if you're watching, please chime in live. Tell us where you're from, who you are. We love to chat a little bit or throw a question or give Coach Craig, or myself, of course, a hard time.
Yeah, for sure.
For some reason, I feel like I'm an easier target. I don't know why.
I'm always open to a hard time.
So, option football.
Right.
And if any of you have option experience, please chime in. Do you think in the option game that it's harder? What's harder to train, that dive read or the pitch read? Which part is harder? In my opinion, I feel like the dive exchange with that fullback is higher risk
for sure
than the pitch read. And that's just because the dive read is almost like two people reading at once. They both have to agree on this read.
Right, absolutely.
That makes me nervous.
Right.
But the pitch read is one man's decision. So there's no disagreement problem. The only problem is now the pitch, you're actually pitching it.
Yeah.
Which, does that risk just equal the two out, or the equal?
No, I think the dive risk is definitely higher. I mean, I think just because, I mean, you see it now in the read option or the RPO game. We saw it happen to us, against us this year. That guy was reading and the fullback bit down too hard on the ball. The quarterback was trying to pull it out and then it pops out.
Right.
I mean, you see that a lot. So it's just something that you have to go through the mesh drill, 1,000 times a day, just to get it right. And you don't see as many guys, you don't have like the option, the pitch drill 1,000 times a day, but you have the mesh drill 1,000 times a day. So I think a lot of people would agree with that option, that fullback mesh read is the hardest part.
Now, I wonder, any of you RPO teams out there, spread RPO teams, please chime in. I'm wondering, when that quarterback is making that read, and I can assume what I think they do, but I'm not at that team, and I've never been on a staff that is that type of team.
I don't know.
So I would wonder, how much is your fullback being asked to read as well, or is he just being asked, take it until it's pulled?
Right.
I wonder if they're teaching it the same way.
If they get to a certain point and it's just like, all right, you
gotta
haven't pulled it. You haven't pulled it, so
I got to take it.
I'm going with it. I don't
right.
know.
Do they read that? Is that what they're being taught? Are they feeding it and writing, and then is there a certain point in the exchange that the fullback knows, I'm taking it? I wonder if that's the same thing. So spread guys, RPO guys, how are you doing that? Or is it that quarterback reading so quickly that if he puts it down at all, fullback knows he's going to take it, right? Whereas if he just flashes it, obviously it's gone.
And the thing that I feel like with the option, and this is why those spread offenses that run this stuff, I mean, they kind of blow my mind, because I feel like you got to be all or nothing with the option. I mean, especially if you're reading it. Now, right now with what we do, it's not an all or nothing deal. Like the quarterback knows exactly what's going on. Like, am I giving it or am I pitching it? Like, he knows. Well, I wouldn't say that he knows he's pitching it in that situation, but he knows whether he's giving it or keeping it. So there's no read to it. But I feel like if we were to go full on triple option and reading it, like, that's basically all you can do. Like, you can't venture too far off the path, because you have to spend a lot of practice time, and I don't have the luxury of having offensive practice separate from defensive practice all day. Like, I have my offensive guys play defense as well. So I mean, it's all or nothing for us. So it's to that point where now I'm trying to balance, like, how much do I want to give, how much do I want to keep, and it's hard.
Yeah.
When I've been in the same system for as long as I have, and I've seen it work now, it's tough. It's difficult.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. It's like, how do you leave something you believe in to go for something you're pretty sure you believe in?
I mean, I believe in both offenses. I mean, I really do. And not that I've been on a staff of Flexbone that I've seen it work, but I've seen it work.
Right, I mean,
everywhere
all
else.
over the place. Right, you know it. Right.
I mean,
it's going to work.
Yeah, but it's just a matter of I know all the install points for this offense. I know, what to harp on, what not to harp on. I know most of the wrinkles of this offense, but the Flexbone's a little bit more uncharted for me. I know a lot about it because I studied a lot about it, but I haven't seen it work in a game, and I haven't had to make those adjustments myself. So that's the hardest part for me right now.
All right, before we move on here, kind of closing out our show, maybe the last 5 minutes of our show here. Again, want to throw it out to anybody that happens to be watching live. Please check in with us. Tell us who you are, where you're from. One of the main purposes of us trying to make these live is because we don't feel like we have anything to teach anyone. We just want to make conversation. And have really gotten a kick out of the coaching community through the Twitter world. And we just want to extend it onto YouTube. It's really our goal. So, again, we spent some money on being able to go live with good quality for this purpose, to hear from you. So tell us where you're from, and if you get over to this video after it's been live, because let's face it, our following right now on YouTube is a little small. But if you get over this video, whether you're live, please check in. Tell us who you are, where you're from. And then also, if you come in later, down in the comment section below, let us know where you're from. Just again, taking that the community we love so much from the Twitter world, trying to bring it more into YouTube world as well.
Yeah, and grow it, man.
And grow that community. We've had a blast with it. So, as we finish up here, we talked why Coach Craig's not changing offenses. He totally reneged on us. We talked about whether or not spread teams are reading that as well at that level. So now, as we close things out, any closing thoughts as to how do you know what would make you say, in your opinion, a team out there on your schedule, let's say, don't name them by name, but let's picture some teams on our schedule that, in your opinion, need to change offenses. So think about that. I'm going to think of a team right now, and while I'm talking, you can kind of think about yours. And more so, you're saying, what are the reasons why you think they should? Okay? So the team that I think of right now, was a team we played this year. In my opinion, and as I talk about them, I'm actually I see my own problems within what I'm accusing them
Right.
of, which I guess Tamik would confirm that we need to choose an identity. Is we played a team who lacked an identity, and it was funny because I kind of saw, I guess not funny, but what I saw was a team who had pieces of actually everyone else on our schedule.
Okay.
It was like their offense had become this combination of everyone else's.
The flavor of the week.
Yeah.
video.
Now, to their credit, I mean, we couldn't stop anyone we played, so they were still moving the ball. But I've seen, and I remember from my time at Milford, we had an opponent where it was that same thing. It was really just highly multiple. Now, my closing thought here before I turn it over to you and we close out is, now Homewood Flossmoor in Illinois is one of the top teams in the state every year.
Every
Big
year.
school, Chicago suburbs,
Right.
highly multiple.
Right.
But they're not highly multiple within their blocking schemes. Blocking schemes, it's zone, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it is gap zone. It is not even combo zones. It's gap zones, 100%. Hang in there. The audio's still working. I'm going to fix our camera. But it's gap zones 100%. And they just do it out of a whole lot of formations.
Right.
So I don't necessarily consider a lot of formations necessarily being too multiple.
No.
It's having too many schemes that you don't even see. You don't see a theme across it all.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a team. I guess if I have to pick a team, it wouldn't be because they're multiple. It would just be because of the personnel that I saw them have this year.
Sure.
And just I looked at their personnel and I was like, man, if they did something kind of similar to maybe what we do, like they could really do some damage to some people. And because they were just so big and strong and fast, I mean, I was like, they could seriously do some damage. And not that they weren't good at what they did, because they were, but it's just one of those things where it's like, man, you look at that and you're just like, man, if they did something a little different here, or went to more of a power scheme or something like
Sure.
that, like, they would be really successful. So I just, that's more so for me. I didn't see anybody on our schedule this year that you saw like 1,000 different things, or
Yeah, sure.
they were stealing each week their opponent's best play and adding it to their playbook. Like I didn't see that, and I've been around teams that have done that in the past, and it didn't work out. But we didn't play any teams like that this year. Like everybody pretty much had a clear system that they were trying to run, and sometimes it just comes down to the talent that you have too. But I mean,
well, changing offense has been the theme of the week this
Right.
week. So we're going to kind of finish that off tomorrow, that theme of the week, which is changing offenses. Yesterday, my biggest point that I took from, or 2 days ago, my conversation with Coach T was, if you're going to change offenses, it has to be the conviction of the head coach. Without the conviction of the head coach, you're stirring up problems.
if you don't believe in it, I mean,
Yeah.
you're in trouble.
You're stirring
I
up
mean,
problems, and I speak from experience on that. So from what I'm picking up from this conversation today, to me, I thought the best point that I could pull from today, I think coaches could too, is if you're going to switch, there is a smart time to choose based on those key personnel pieces. Not during your stud QB's junior year, right before senior year, maybe.
Right.
Wait for him to finish as you see this new sophomore getting ready to take over.
Right. And I mean, sometimes it's based on, like I said, my personnel at the time, does what we do fit them, and you can see it as they're coming up in the youth football. You have guys that are coming, and maybe it's like, okay, right now what we do fits, but I can see in the future that maybe we need to add this wrinkle or this play, because I think these guys would be really successful at it. And I think, I see that for us coming up. I see that we're going to be maybe a little more fast than we've been in years past. Right now, we're pretty big and strong. If you saw us play, I mean, we had a giant backfield, and we were able to just kind of muscle teams
Right.
up. But in years to come, we're not going to have that as much. We're going to be more speed-oriented. So I think, that's when I start kind of looking, maybe flexible and will help us, So
Now, my only problem with that is that if you base your system on your personnel,
yeah,
it's going to change.
Right,
So you're
right.
basically saying, well, we'll change it every few years.
yeah, and I don't know if it's so much that I'm going to change it every couple of years, but I'm just going to look at different ways to be creative and how we run our system, but with the wrinkles that we throw in.
Sure.
I guess.
Okay.
Is more so what I'm saying. So
Fair enough.
yeah, we'll see.
All right, man. Changing offense has been a theme of the week.
Yeah.
Hey, comment below. Any thoughts of the questions that we posed out? Any of your thoughts are much appreciated. We'll try our best to respond. Thanks, and join us. I mean, we're going live as much as we can.
Mm-hmm.
Join in, subscribe if you got anything out of it, or you just like talking ball,
Right.
same as us.
Right.
Shoot, give us a like, subscribe, all those good things that help us.
Yeah.
All right, man. Listen,
All right.
we got to get back to work.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
I got to go
Lunch
back and
break
teach
over.
second grade now.